Blade II Bannerlord has just launched its Warsails DLC today, and with it comes a ton of content. You'll get a new faction, new soldiers for existing factions, another landmass, and most importantly, the addition of naval warfare to the game with a corresponding campaign for it. But is all of it worth it? In a time with tons of game launches and releases, does Warsails stand the test of time? Well, in this video today, I want to discuss just that and give you a no spoiler breakdown of the DLC on a very high level with a more detailed guide coming out tomorrow. But in my typical fashion of fronting the knowledge of my videos, let me give you the down and dirty. Yes, I think Warsails is absolutely worth your time, especially if you haven't played Bannerlord since its heyday back in 2020 or its launch in 2022. 3 years later, the game is reignited with a pretty robust naval warfare system that allows you to blockade enemy ports, contribute to sieges using said ships, and get in massive ship-to-ship battles. The complexity this adds into the game can't be understated, as it's just such a great layer for an already immense sandbox experience. If you've played hours upon hours of Bannerlord, this is finally a fresh take that will have you consuming even more of said hours. If you're brand new to the game and haven't touched it, it's even more worth it. It's really worth it now because the systems are, on the surface, very easy to jump into, but complex the deeper you go. What Warsails does is add a final bit of polish to the game that I didn't know that it needed. With that being said, though, there are some cons. Warsails takes a massive in-game investment to get into if you're playing on sandbox mode. 12 to 18K is the cheapest ship, and when you're starting from scratch, that's a good chunk of hours into the game because you have to have a crew, you maybe want to have more ships, you have to have companions, it's quite a bit. So the easiest way to get into it is by starting a brand new campaign, which will then jump you into the system like immediately. There is that caveat, but also the 3 new skills that are added with Warsails can be a bit of a trap because you can invest in them early and stall out your mid to late game effectiveness outside of naval combat because you've sunk so many points into them. It's something that happened to me, and I had to really tweak my character so that I could be strong on land battles again. In short, for $25, and I think it's on sale as part of the launch, you can get well over 25 additional hours of gameplay across a system that makes the game feel fresh for the first time in years. Also, what's really exciting here is how the modding community is going to take this and run with it. But that's too long didn't watch this entire video. I'll be showing off more of the DLC in a no spoiler fashion and giving some more information about it, but if that's all you wanted to know, please feel free to shut the video down. I want to be respectful of your time. You can jump ahead to any part of the video that interests you the most using the chapters with the timeline in the description, and if you are heading out, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. But let's get started on Warsails DLC. Is Bannerlord worth your time again? So you've just booted up Blade II Bannerlord Warsails for the first time. How do you get access to the campaign? Well, you can press sandbox and you can jump into all the new stuff at your own speed. My recommendation for you, this is a review video, so I'm trying to give you a sense of how to jump into it the fastest. It's just press new campaign, because new campaign will give you a storyline for Warsails that starts in Ostikin at the coast of Valandia. I have the cheat console up, so it says cheat usages. I'm not a hacker, but this allows you to just play whatever culture you want. You're going to start in the Empire, but then you'll get a pop-up that'll say, hey, do you want to go do the Warsails campaign, basically. It'll start and send you to Ostikin. Why you should do this is that it immediately puts you into the quote-unquote driver's seat of ships. You get to immediately experience ship combat. The only other way to do that would be to either press custom battle at the beginning of the opening screen, or to somehow bum rush 18,000 drachma, denarii, whatever it is in this game, gold to get a ship, because that is the first ship you can get is like 18K. So I recommend, unless you're really wanting doing this for the long haul, to just simply start a brand new campaign and play the Warsails campaign. Because if you've not played Bannerlord in a long time, I think you have forgotten how challenging this game is, because I did. I haven't played Bannerlord in maybe a year or two. I went to jump in, I made a sandbox realistic character, and I just, to be frank, got my shit pushed in. I was like, oh my God, dude, I don't have any money. I can't buy a boat. I'm 4 hours in. I haven't done anything. So do the campaign. It puts you in the driver's seat quickly. And with this new campaign, we get a whole new area we can take advantage of over here. So basically the map used to end right there, more or less. This whole region was kind of a little, there was nothing really here. Actually, I think this was a castle for Sturgia. But now we have the Nords that can come up through this river system. And then we have this whole stretch of land. Now, oh, you might be thinking, what's the difference between the Nords and the Sturgians? There is not a ton. And if you think of this from a historical standpoint, Sturgia is based off of the Kievan Rus, proto-Russian, Ukrainian, Slavic people. Essentially what happens in history is the Vikings go and invade this area. These Vikings were called the people of the Rus by the native Slavics of the area, and create an empire there. Kievan Rus is one of the strongest empires of that time. It was how we get Varangians and really cool things into the Eastern Roman Empire. And the Kievan Rus and the quote unquote Vikings, remember Viking is a term, you would go and Viking. They share a lot of the same conventions, a lot of the same armament, and the Kievan Rus had more of established everything. So they were able to actually have pretty impressive armament. They were able to get a lot of crazy things too from the Turkic tribes and the steppes people and all sorts of stuff. But if I take a look over here at the troops, we can see if I click Sturgia and Nord, there's really not that much difference here. These guys even look very similar to Sturgian troops. Again, it's going to fit that same look all the way around. Oops, arm trader, I don't want that. This is what I want. But you can see that the Sturgians have quite a bit of a robust roster here. They get archers, they get cav, they get shock troops, they get just straight up line troops, they get all sorts of things. And then their noble line is a mounted heavy infantry soldier, right? With the Nords, we don't really get that. I got just chosen. Oh, I guess that's right. That's this one. With the Nords, we just get this. We only get, I'm not even going to call them heavy soldiers. They're more like a medium to heavy, and it's intentional. And then we get their archers. That's their entire line. You also get these guys as well, which are a polearm shock troop style of unit. And shield biters are not what I wanted. I want Scion. There it is. This is their noble line, which progresses down to Huskarls. So that's the Nords in their entirety. But what do they get that the other ones don't? It's this little wavy wave underneath. Every single Nord unit has this, which denotes that they are mariners. Being a mariner means that they have no diminished stats on the open ocean. That's what's important about them and what differentiates them from every other faction in the game. They are meant to fight on the ocean. They can fight the same as anyone else on land, but that is not true for, let's go to Sturgia, everything in the Sturgian roster. You'll notice that almost nothing has those little waves underneath it. The Sturgian Reaver is a mariner, and that's it. The line for it, that's it. Veteran shipman and a crewman. Those are the only mariners. So this directly shows me that, you know what, hey, pound for pound, the Sturgians and the Nords might not be that much different troop composition wise. But if we see each other on the open ocean, you better hope you have nothing but Reaver shipmen and veteran shipmen, because the Nords will clean up shop at them. Now, I do not know what the difference is between a mariner and a non-mariner as far as the stat diminishing goes. This character has 122 handed, 130 throwing, 130 athletics. They're a mariner. They get that stat on the open ocean. This heroic line breaker, for example, though, has 152 handed, 130 throwing, 150 athletics. I do not know the diminish of what that is like on the open ocean. I've asked the devs and I didn't get a clear-cut response. So those stats are going to be lower. But this is one of the biggest things about Warsails is you can choose how you want to play. I mean, even as a Nord commander, though, you could go grab Sturgian units and use Sturgian units just the same as your land troops and just use your Nords as your naval force, whatever you want to do. And I think that's it plays heavily into the sandbox of this game, which is expanded in the DLC, right? You now have the capability to have a dedicated naval fighting force. And that naval fighting force can be not just good ships, but also really good soldiers. It's going to be up to you. And what is a DLC that has ships without ships? So you can see here, I'm just taking a look at one of the docks. Here's all of the ships here. They're all, These are all light ships. There are 3 classification of ship: light, medium, and heavy, and we'll show off a naval battle later in this video. But basically, you have upgrades for all these ships. There's classifications, there's speed, there's sails, there's all sorts of stuff that is now layered into this system. And like I said, it's not cheap. 12K for one of these, if you started off in Sandbox, that's quite a bit to muster. So you can jump into this however you see fit when it comes to choosing between Sandbox or campaign, but doing this is going to be a pretty cool thing because you can create your whole entire fleet through here and then stack up your fleet with maybe, hey, I just want one heavy ship, then a bunch of medium ships and a bunch of light ships, or maybe I just want a bunch of heavy ships. And you can really choose what kind of admiral you want to be, which again, I think plays very heavily into the Sandbox system of this game. Warsails, if anything, has shown me that there's so much more under the hood to Bannerlord, right? And I'm not even gonna get started with the modding community. It's insane. It's through the roof. But this allows you to play a different layer of this game. And I'm not gonna go too much into the ships here. I have a whole video dedicated to walking you through this system and telling you more about it. I just wanted to kind of talk about it quickly here in this brief overview and review. We also have, though, with the new ships, with new units, with a new landmass, with a new faction and a new campaign, new skills. We have 3 of them down here like we talked about: Mariner, Boatswain, and Shipmaster. And each one of these is usually locked to a stat attribute on the right here, or left. Oh man, great my directions. You can see that there is no stat there. What this means is the stat for Mariner is not vigor, isn't it? Nope. It's endurance. So endurance increases my learning rate for Mariner, as well as cunning. So this allows me to dip into both of these attributes to then give me a more learning rate, which I would also put focus points to increase my learning rate. Boatswain is vigor. Nope. It's control and social. So control and social is going to give me contribution towards the learning rate of this skill. And Shipmaster is vigor. This I know is right now this time because I've got it wrong twice, and intelligence. So you would be able to contribute towards your progression to this through both of these attributes. I think this is a really good way to do it because the attribute system in Mount & Blade Bannerlord is already a little cramped. You have to decide, okay, am I going to be like an archer that uses a one-handed weapon and is on a horseback all the time and also has a big army? Well, that's intelligence, endurance, control, and vigor. That's a lot of skill points. That's a lot of focus points. That's a lot of attribute points. Well, now I can still do that same route. And by doing it, I'm increasing this stuff down here because focus points come and go. They're very easy to get. So at least you can get tons of focus points and invest them down here without worrying about pulling the efficacy of your other skills that are already established as like a needed baseline for the game. Because remember, on a ship, you're still going to do all the stuff you were going to do on land when it comes to combat. So you want to have that same level of competence in both. And this allows you to leverage that very easily. Now, what I will say as a critique against this system, I don't quite like the separation between these 3 skills. Mariner are supposed to be skills that really help out your troops when it comes to battles. Boatswain are abilities that help out the logistics of your actual ship. Is it going to help out with your sails? Is it going to make their hull stronger? Are you going to help out your ballistas? Is it going to help out with the upkeep of specific unit types? For example, here, this is upgrade cost reduction for Mariner troops, and this is recruitment cost reduction for Mariner troops. Or this one is wages cost reduced for non-Mariner troops while at sea. So you have all these kinds of mechanics. Then the Shipmaster are all basically campaign movement mechanics, a la like a scouting, right? Scouting has a lot of mechanics that are bound to like, hey, travel speed on desert and dunes. Well, this is campaign trap 10% to campaign map travel speed when running before the wind, and this is just a flat 5% campaign map travel speed. So you can see how there's those very clear kind of carbon copies, but they all bleed together too. If you were to think of the 3 skills, think of them as overlapping 3 Venn diagrams versus 3 individual skill trees, which is nice and all, but it also it makes me want to get pulled in too many directions. Do I, as a shipmaster, want to really worry about how fast I go on the campaign map with my ship? You're absolutely right, I do. but I also want to do more damage with my units when they're getting into fights. And I also want to make sure I reduce upkeep or keep my repairs up. So I find that, and I'm creating the issue of this problem without a solution, which I don't like to do very much. But I think that the problem I have here with this is that I get too pulled in too many directions with this, because the end of each of these is quite good. Shipboard ballistas fire during sieges. My flagship figurehead provides bonuses to all allied troops, and my range damage is increased for my character, or my melee damage is increased by my character. Those are both huge. So getting those benefits online are great. I have to choose which one, but I also have to realize that it's going to make a portion of my Warsails DLC experience cheated. I'm going to go hard in the paint on Mariner. Okay, well, cool. Well, you didn't put enough into Shipmaster. Your boat's going to be slow as hell. Well, you know what? I'm going to go really, really, really hard with my my Shipmaster, and I'll take extra points into Mariner. Okay, well, that's cool. Well, you're also going to spend a ton of wages now because you didn't spend enough into bow swing. Because while doing all that, you also have to focus on athletics and bow and one-handed and riding and polearm and whatever other skills you're trying to do, steward and medicine. So I kind of wish that maybe this was... I wish almost that this was one skill tree, maybe with 3 branches. I'm sorry, 3 rows rather than 2 rows or something like that, or just longer set of rows. I don't know. I just find that I'm going to be cramped up across my focus points to really invest all the learning rates. So I think this comes down to understanding when you jump into the Warsails DLC, are you, the party leader, going to be someone who's going to be on the ocean a lot? Yes, invest in one of the 3 of these. No, have a captain in your clan, in your party that does that, because that is the most important thing you need to know about this. It's very easy to get spread too thin with those 3 skills at the bottom and not invest enough back into your character. And that will then delay your character's efficacy into the later game very fast. And that's the kind of the biggest pitfall of Bannerlord, is you misinvest in the beginning and it makes progressing really slow at the middle and late stage. Well, this can kind of amplify that problem by you investing into things that are only helpful for a portion of the game you might not be interacting in. So just comes down to you. If you're going to play a lot of the Warsails stuff, make sure you invest in the Warsails skills. So to show off now some actual gameplay, I'm going to just jump into a simulated battle using the custom battle screen and drag our captains onto these ships. And then you can kind of designate these ships, right? Like, hey, I want this to be more infantry. I want this to be more archers. And at this point too, we're going to talk about, is this DLC worth it? Because honestly, it's a $25 DLC. And I think the layers of complexity that it adds to the game are amazing. And I think that's the most important thing about this, right? Like, does this add $25 worth of gameplay to your experience of Mount & Blade Bannerlord? And I think through the roof it does. It adds such a crispy amount of fun that I cannot tell you enough how much you're going to sink into this and how rewarding it's going to be, because these battles do get pretty crazy. So let's go ahead and jump forward a little bit to actually get some fighting and further talk about the pros and cons and whether or not I think it's worth it. We have our all of our ships here, and let's go ahead and do skirmish. And maybe ship has started to sink. The system here for naval combat is very fun. It's not crazy. It's not, I'm not playing like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, where I'm gonna go like do blockades of Age of Sail ships with ships of the line and run a cannonade and all this cool stuff, but you still get lots of great stuff here. You're not dealing with cannons, but you're dealing with lots of fire arrows, lots of ballistae. And I think that the layers that this adds are very fun, because these things can exist in blockades now, and people have to end blockades by jumping in and trying to run the blockade. You can use the new stealth system that was added in before. This isn't related to this. Well, an effective ram to hit my own ship. Oh man. You can completely capsize one of these ships though, and it is so fun. So we're gonna cut our sails completely. No, lower those sails. And we're gonna look at that battering ram, dude. That means business. It becomes ridiculous. Like, what you can do with these ships is really fun, and I think they did a good job of implementing this, so it doesn't feel It doesn't feel tacked on. This feels like a fully fleshed out system, that it should be that should have been part of the game from the start. And I think that's probably what I like so much about this, is this doesn't feel like, okay, I'm never going to interact with this system. The AI is going to interact with this system quite a bit. And you are too, through either using it with your own clans, your own parties, whatever it is, or by using it just by having the AI do stuff for you. And I think that's what makes this such a fun system. You can be as invested in it as you want. I will say, though, that the biggest problem I have with the system is the barrier of entry. So if you've not played Bannerlords in a long time, it's going to be very hard for you to get up and going with this. So I just want to be transparent with that. Look, I missed that one ship, and I do this a lot. I just get too horny trying to ram, and then I end up just completely off kilter here, and my ships are getting... Oh, we're actually doing really well, because I'm using Nord, so we're just absolutely killing things. We're actually going to start a board on this ship over here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Board that ship, and they'll throw the boarding lines, and we'll get up close in it. It can be just a little rough trying to jump into this DLC as maybe a former veteran of Bannerlord, right? Like 2020, 2021, you were played thousands of hours of this game. That barrier of entry and falling off the side of your ship, like I almost did, I think is the biggest thing that hurts Warsails. I would have liked like a naval campaign start, which kind of the campaign, that when you go to the actual campaign, it kind of is that, but it is so hard to get invested into a boat quickly, which, I mean, maybe it should, because it's meant for more of the long form of the game. It's meant for more of the long haul here. And if you play it like, well, I just started, why am I not able to be in like a heavy ship right now? Well, it's because it's meant to be something that is used with large sieges, or with more established clans, or with a character who wants to be a pirate clan and wants to go just simply raid stuff. So that's the biggest issue there. The mechanics for this game, are very simple to understand, but they're very deep. So I will say that is a bit of a warning to you. It has a low skill floor, but a very high skill ceiling. I have like 60 hours into this. Did you see how I blew past that ship and completely sucked? So there is a lot going on for this that is very easy to mess up. And you can end up putting yourself into a situation where you're like, man, this is frustrating, I'm not understanding it. Just putting reps into this, you're gonna get it quickly. But if you don't, it makes it so that you kind of struggle a little bit when it comes to the early portions of this DLC. So that, I would say, is your big warning there. Yes, it's a great DLC. It adds so much to Bannerlord that I didn't really think it needed. I always thought it would be really fun to have this system, but I never thought it'd be like something I absolutely needed. But now that I've played it, I can't imagine playing Bannerlord without this level of depth that I get from the naval stuff that it adds into the campaign map play style. So that is why I really enjoy it. But again, the warning here is it will take you a considerable amount of time to A, get into any ship that is going to be particularly seaworthy, and B, into any ship that's not just a small ship. So just know those things, because they are going to be the things that are going to be they're going to kind of slow you down. And I don't want you to buy the DLC and go, well, why can't I just even play the DLC at all? Play the campaign, you'll get into the DLC quickly, and you'll be able to have some fun. Otherwise, you're going to just be struggling. And as you can see too, like I said, there's a high skill ceiling. If you're not good with the ship, just put some reps in it and you'll click in. And jumping from class to class is kind of like you go from light, medium, and heavy ships. It's kind of like learning a whole new way to play, because the heavy ships are awesome. They can blow through some, they can outright sink a ship if you were to go balls deep, but they also are so much harder to control. So you just kind of have to learn those things. Like I'm messing up so bad as I try to talk and steer the... There we go. Back and to the left. Back and to the left. But that's my down and dirty for this game, for Warsails. I've been a huge fan of Bannerlord for ages, right? Like, I've played the hell out of it. And when Warsails was announced, I was like, oh, okay, this could be fun. This could be cool. I wasn't really sure what it would really entail. But now that I've had a good chunk of time into it, I've been able to really get a chance to play all of the... Oops. Who would shoot his own men live on a video? I've had a chance to really put some time into it, and I'm going to smash into my own thing again because I was really hoping to do a RAM. I now know how fun it is and how it really just brings so much to the game. So hopefully this gives you a better idea of whether or not you're going to play Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2. Oh my gosh. Bannerlord Warsails is my sails just keep getting messed up here. And I hopefully you now know how tricky it can be, right? Like I think there's kind of a trap watching like a content creator and they're doing like reviews and it's like, look at this highly curated video of me perfectly showing you a great shot of what I'm doing on this ship. Instead, I'm just showing you me sloppily flopping all over the place in a heavy ship because I probably have the least amount of time on any heavy ship. And you can really learn these ships a lot by just simply jumping into custom battles, which this clearly is. I think we're about to win too. This ship is like almost, what a way to end it, man. Oh man. But if you've played Mountain Blade Bannerlord Warsails, it's out now, and you have some things that you really just don't like. What are your pain points? Go ahead and let it be known in the comment section below. Or you know what, this has changed the game for me. I was playing mods, I was doing other things. Go ahead and let it be known below. I think again, the biggest thing that this is gonna do for it is imagine what this is gonna do for the modding community and how it's gonna add this level of complexity to a lot of things. We already have mods that are like the Shogunate mod or the Lord of the Rings mod or the Warhammer mod. You're going to be able to add in that level of complexity. It's going to be so fun. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.